As they were running, the clothes became very, very dirty. They had to change it. After changing it, they took an umbrella with them as they continued their journey. As they were running to the hills, a powerful gust of wind blew them off course, sweeping them away like leaves on a stormy day. The twins were helpless against force of the storm, which pushed them towards the sea. Before they knew it, they were driven through the sea. They screamed lots in the whirling wind, their hearts racing with fear, and then they hit the water with a splash. The impact knocking the breath out of them. The twins struggled to resurface, but the waves were too strong, tossing them about like toys. Their grandfather, a weak-aged man, was nowhere to be seen. Amachi and Ihechi scanned the wave. They looked around. They couldn't see their grandfather. They checked if they would see any sign of him, probably in the water, but they did not see. But as they struggled to stay afloat, they realized that they didn't know how to swim. The twins were at the mercy of the stormy sea, their lives hanging dangerously in a balance as the wave crashed against them. Amachi and Ihechi held on to each other tightly. Their bond was so stronger than ever. Their desperate cries for help lost in stormy sea. Their grandfather was nowhere to be seen, and the twins were alone fighting for survival against the raging waves. As the storm intensified, the twins' hope began to decrease as Amachi and Ihechi struggled to stay afloat in the ocean. A young woman named Norma, the daughter of a wealthy businessman, who also came to visit her grandma from a neighboring village of Ndiobo, was fishing that day with her uncle. She happened upon them without hesitation. She drove into the water to rescue the twins. As Norma grabs Amarachi's hand, she felt a relief, but in that moment, Ihechi slipped from her hand, disappearing depths the wave. Norma frantically searched for Ihechi, but she was nowhere to be found. With Amachi holding on to her, Norma swam back to shore, her heart heavy with worry. She had to save Amachi first, but she knew she had to go back for Ihechi. Once she reached the safety of the shore, Norma lay Amarachi down on the sand, checking to see if she was okay. Amarachi coughed up water, gushing for air, but she was alive. Norma didn't hesitate. She turned around and pushed back into the sea, determined to find Ihechi. But as she searched the wave, she realized that Ihechi was gone lost in the vast expanse of the ocean. Norma was left a devastating choice. She had saved one twin but lost the other. The weight of her failure threatened to crush her, but she knew she had to act fast to save Amarachi's life. Immediately she left the sea, she put Amarachi in a boat heading to their village. Immediately they got to the shore of the sea, Norma grabbed Amarachi with her arms crossed as she rushed her towards her car. She sped towards the nearest hospital with her heart racing with worry. As they arrived at the hospital, Norma rushed Amarachi into the emergency room. The medical team quickly sprang into action, attending to Amarachi's need. Amarachi was no longer breathing well when they arrived at the hospital. Norma was very sad and was praying that God should intervene. She prayed all through the night, wishing that Amarachi doesn't live like her twin sister in H. At night, Norma called her dad to inform her about what happened in the evening and where she was as of that time. The dad was very grateful to God for letting her daughter save the innocent child. Norma watched anxiously as the doctors and nurses worked to stabilize Amarachi's condition. She couldn't shake off the feeling of guilt and responsibility for not being able to save EH. After what felt like an eternity, the doctor emerged with an update. Amarachi is going to be okay, he said with a reassuring smile. She suffered from hypothermia and dehydration, but we've administered the necessary treatment. She will need to rest and recover, but she's out of danger now. Norma breathed a sigh of relief, grateful that Amarachi was going to be okay, but her relief was tempered by the knowledge that Nhechi was still missing, and she couldn't shake off the feeling that she had failed to save her. Back in the village, the grandpa was still going around looking for solutions to the problem, but he couldn't get any. He remembered the king and decided to go tell him what is happening in the village and how it started. When he got there, he didn't see the guards, the king's son and wife. All of them have run away from the storm because they don't want to be killed. When he got to the palace, the king was alone thinking about the predicament of the village. The king is about 70 years of age. When the grandpa got there, he greeted the king and he responded with a fainting voice. After exchanging pleasantry, the grandpa said to the king, "Your Highness, I was once a victim. I lost a loved one, my only brother and parents, to the storm. Our family house was destroyed. I was homeless. I got separated from my family at a tender age during the storm and had to survive on my own with the grace of God. I have witnessed the storm's destruction and was left with a lasting sense of vulnerability." The king asked the grandpa, "What happened to the village? Who caused us? When did this started happening? When did this storm started tormenting our children and children's children, moving from one generation to another, destroying lives and properties?" The grandpa started narrating how the issue started to the king, who doesn't have any deep knowledge concerning the storm, but only knew that it doesn't kill aged men and women. The grandpa started long ago in the village of Achua. They lived in harmony with nature. They farmed the fertile land, fished in the great river, and honored the spirits of the ancestors. But one day, an elder defined a sacred law. He stole from the forbidden mountain, a place where the spirit of the land rested. Enraged, the spirit unleashed a terrible curse. As the river flows and the wind blows, so shall the storm return. Every generation it will rise, and the young shall perish in its wrath. From that day forward, the village lived in fear. Every 5 years, a storm darker than the night would roll in. Lightning struck down homes. The wind tore through the field, and rain drowned everything in sight. But worst of all, every youth who had just come of age was taken, vanished without a trace, leaving behind only echoes of their voices in the wind. The villagers tried everything. The, the villagers tried everything. They built stronger huts. They prayed to the gods. They even sent warriors to fight the storm. All were killed by the storm within a twinkle of a second, but nothing worked. Generation after generation, the storm returned, and the village grew small and weaker. Then came Adani. Unlike the others, she was not willing to wait for death. On the eve of the storm, had sought out the oldest woman in the village, the blind seer, Mama Okafor. She told her a hidden truth. The storm does not come to destroy, it comes to claim what was stolen, return what was taken, and the spirit may show mercy. But what have been stolen? Adani asked. Adani searched the forbidden mountain, and deep within its cave she found a gold mask radiating with power. But the spirit was demanding for the blood of a youth, which they couldn't provide. That's why we are still facing the attack of the storm till date. Over generations, many young lives are lost, and despair filled the village. After hearing this, the king told the grandpa that they have to find solution to the problem. The grandpa asked how. The king told him they will be going to see the native doctor so that he will tell them the solution to the problem that has met their children and the generations before them to die. When they got to the chief priest palace, the chief priest informed them that the only solution is a true act of love, someone willingly giving their life in place for another can break the curse. But it cannot be just anyone. It must be done out of pure love, without expectation of reward. He continued. The storm is born from sorrow. It will not end until a heart breaks willingly for the sake of all. When they got home, they decided to hold a meeting and inform the elders, which they did, but no one was willing to pay the sacrifice. Amarachi, on the other hand, was discharged, and she thanked Norma and her father for saving her life. Norma apologized for not saving her twin sister. She told her not to worry, that her sister will be back someday. She didn't want to go back to the city to go break the news to her father that his favorite daughter is nowhere to be seen. Rather, she stayed in Norma's house and was praying that her sister will be seen. Nyechi, on the other hand, was seen by a spiritualist woman in the river where she went to perform some sacrifices. When she saw Nyechi, there was no life in her again, but the spiritualist woman helped to revive her. When she revived Nyechi, she took her home and accepted Nyechi as her only child, since she is not married and has no child. Nyechi couldn't remember where she is coming from, nor where she was going to. She had lost of memory due to the activities of the storm. The old spiritualist woman made sure she wasn't lacking anything. After staying for 2 weeks with the old spiritualist woman, she decided to help her with a spell, using her charm to help her remember who she is and where she was going to. Fortunately, The spell works for her. As she can remember, with the help
She
of the spell, she discovered that she had a twin who might be probably be looking for her.